Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting question from Hassan al-Banna today.
Yeah.
They're asking about, well, the essence of masquerades.
Hmm.
Those gatherings full of mystery and hidden intentions and all that.
Right.
Hassan specifically wants to know how someone like Prospero in Shakespeare's The Tempest would use a masquerade to his advantage.
I think that's a really clever question because the whole play, The Tempest, can actually be seen as one big masquerade.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
And Prospero is kind of like the puppet master, you know?
Ah, pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Exactly. Carefully controlling every little bit of the action happening on the island.
Okay, so let's break that down.
Sure.
We've got Prospero,
Right.
this exiled duke who's stranded on an island with his daughter, Miranda,
Right.
and then he conjures up this huge tempest, this storm, and shipwrecks his enemies right there on the island he controls.
It's a pretty dramatic entrance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But it's not just about the spectacle. This shipwreck is like the first layer of his masquerade.
Okay, how so?
He uses all this magic, illusions, he manipulates things to create this whole world where nothing is what it seems.
So everyone's trapped in his web,
Right.
but they have no idea, right?
They're dancing to his tune, completely unaware.
Like puppets.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, and it really makes you think about Shakespeare and how he uses these theatrical devices
Oh, absolutely. He was a master at it.
to get at these really deep themes.
Right, and during Shakespeare's time, the mask was really popular.
The mass.
Yeah, it was a form of courtly entertainment, very elaborate.
Okay.
Costumes, music, stories with hidden meanings. And I think Prospero's Island becomes his stage for a grand mask.
I see. So things like that magical banquet that appears and disappears.
Yeah.
Or the harpy scene.
Exactly. Those are like elements of a mask used to both entertain and manipulate his captive audience.
Let's talk about that harpy scene for a second. That's when Ariel shows up as this vengeful spirit and confronts the nobles about betraying Prospero in the past.
That's a pretty intense scene.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's not just scary, right?
No, there's a deeper meaning there. I think that's where the idea of a masquerade gets really psychological.
Okay.
The harpy represents Prospero's power, but also his own inner turmoil,
Yeah.
He's projecting that.
Using this illusion to torment them psychologically.
Yes, to make them feel guilty and face their past.
So it's like he's holding up this mirror, forcing them to see themselves without their masks.
Exactly. And that's really important for understanding what Prospero wants.
Okay.
I mean, he wants revenge, sure, but he also wants justice.
Right.
And he wants them to reconcile, to heal the broken relationships.
So that's why he manipulates the other characters the way he does.
Exactly.
To expose their true selves.
He creates situations that bring out their true nature, like with his brother, Antonio.
Antonio's ambition.
Right.
Or Caliban and his desires.
It's all part of the plan.
And then there's the wedding mask for Miranda and Ferdinand.
Ah, yes, the son of the King of Naples.
On the surface, it looks like a celebration of love, of bringing everyone together.
But there's more going on, isn't there?
It feels like there's a hidden agenda.
Absolutely.
It makes Prospero's intentions even more obvious.
This mask, it's a facade.
To strengthen his control.
And to create this alliance with the future king.
A power play disguised as a romantic spectacle.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
So it's not just about entertainment. It's not even just about revenge. It's political, too.
Without a doubt. Prospero understands how powerful perception and illusion can be.
He doesn't just want his dukedom back. He wants to reshape everything.
The island, everyone's lives, the whole reality of the situation.
It really makes you wonder what's real and what's fake on that island.
It does, doesn't it? With Prospero, with the other characters.
It raises an interesting question, too.
What's that?
Does all this make Prospero a villain?
Hmm.
Or a strategic genius?
Or maybe both. And how far will he go to get what he wants?
Now that's something to think about.
Yeah.
So before we got sidetracked, we were talking about how Prospero, in The Tempest, manipulates everyone around him.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's all part of this big masquerade he's created.
It's fascinating how he ends up confronting his own dark side, and then tries to redeem himself.
Yeah, he forgives his enemies and gives up magic.
Like he's taking off a mask and showing his true self.
It makes you wonder what happens to everyone else after being under a spell for so long.
Well, now they have to deal with what they've done.
And see themselves differently.
Right. Prospero's masquerade forced them to see their flaws, their ambitions, all of it.
They're exposed, vulnerable.
I have no more masks.
Speaking of masks, what about Caliban? He's basically Prospero's slave,
Hmm.
forced to serve this outsider, this powerful magician.
Caliban's a really interesting character.
Yeah.
He represents those who are colonized, who are othered, stripped of their power.
But he's not just a victim, is he?
No, he's not passive at all.
He hates being controlled.
He wants to rebel, to hold on to his own identity.
Like when he meets Stefano and Trinculo.
Ah, yes, the drunken butler and the jester,
He thinks they're gods,
and pledges his loyalty to them.
hoping they'll help him overthrow Prospero.
It's funny, but also kind of tragic.
Definitely.
It shows how easily people who are already marginalized can be taken advantage of.
Even in this situation that's supposed to be about unmasking deception.
Caliban just wants to be free.
But he falls for another illusion.
The promise of power from those two fools.
He's looking for any way to break free from the mask Prospero has put on him.
It makes you wonder, is real freedom even possible in that situation?
Stuck on an island, controlled by magic, filled with resentment?
Everyone's wearing a mask, whether they know it or not.
That's a good point.
It's like Shakespeare created this isolated world to explore those universal struggles.
the fight for power, freedom, identity.
The island becomes a miniature version of society, where the lines between real and fake are always blurred.
So going back to Hassanal's question about masquerades, the Tempest shows us that they're not just about hidden agendas or costumes.
It's much deeper than that.
It's about power, illusion, the complexities of human nature.
And what's so interesting is that Shakespeare doesn't give us a clear ending.
Oh yeah.
Prospero leaves the island, but what happens to everyone else?
Does Caliban find freedom? Do the nobles actually change?
It's all left unanswered.
We keep thinking about the meaning of the masquerade even after the play is over.
It's like Shakespeare is asking us to look closer at the world around us.
To take off our own masks and be more critical.
That's what makes his work so powerful.
It makes us think about those hidden intentions, but also our own assumptions about power and reality.
Even when the masks come off, the search for truth continues.
I love that idea.
It's a reminder that the masquerade isn't just something that happens in a play.
We're all part of it in some way.
Exactly.
It's happening in our own lives all the time.
That's why the Tempest is still relevant today, centuries later.
It reflects our own lives, makes us question the roles we play in this grand masquerade of human existence. We're all putting on some kind of act, aren't we?
It's true.
All these roles we play, the way we want people to see us.
Like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And in The Tempest, he's showing us how we deceive each other, and maybe even ourselves.
It's all about power and illusion, and that island becomes like a mini version of society.
So, Hassanal, I hope this deep dive has given you a whole new understanding of masquerades.
They go way deeper than just hidden motives and costumes, don't they?
It's about how we interact with each other on every level.
And even though The Tempest explores these dark sides of human nature...
There's also this sense of hope, right?
Absolutely.
Like things can change, people can grow, Prospero chooses to forgive, Caliban gets a taste of freedom.
Then those nobles, they have a chance to make things right.
Even in this world of illusions, there's always the possibility of something real coming through.
Yeah, like even with all the masks, the human spirit can break free and find its true self.
That's a really beautiful thought.
It is, isn't it?
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to keep those questions coming.
And remember to look beyond the surface. You never know what you might discover.
Until next time.